Hello, my name is Mordred Viking, and I'd like to welcome you to this stream of Hearts of Iron 4. This is the Kaiserreich Weekly tournament. We are joined here by a whole bunch of absolutely excellent players, and I've just realised I'm not actually in chat with them. I should probably set that up. Give me just a second. Where's my chatting audience thingy? There it is. Okay, I'm actually on the Discord, so if they have any issues they can now contact me. And this also means I will be able to drag in players for interviews, if it comes down to that. So I'm just going to set up my interface, going to make sure the self-mute's working. Awesome. Okay, so what is going on here? Well, we have a bunch of different players in different nations spread around the world. We have already unpaused, but this is just the early game lead up to getting things started. So this is going to give us a pretty good opportunity to talk about who the teams are and who the different players are. So, without further ado, huzzah! Let's start with the Co-Prosperity Sphere, just because they come up first on my list. The Copro is led by Japan. Japan is the major power, or the faction leader of that nation, led by Nich. Then we've got Campfire heading up in Russia as the first, as the other major power in that faction. Then we've got 3 minor players, so it's 5 players total. We've got the Empress of France here in Fentien. We've got the pro-Australasian player down in the Princely Federation, so currently playing as the wrong nation, I would imagine. And then finally there is a choice. The team can choose to either have the Philippines or Siam, and as we can see here, we have got Vasfu in Siam. So that is the Co-Pros setup. They're all pretty well located around, and as was mentioned a little bit earlier on, they do indeed have a whole bunch of their high manpower nations. I always kind of like to see other nations getting involved in the Chinese Civil War to basically try to block out Fentien from forming China too soon. And Dominion of India is no longer an Entente nation. So the Entente has actually lost access to India and given its Co-Pro, which I think is an interesting idea. Co-Pro are definitely going to have industry issues, at least until Russia gets up and running. But manpower, they just have manpower galore. So, late game, Copro really come into it. Early to mid, they may struggle if other players decide to target them. Next up, we have got the Third Internationale, headed up by the Commune of France, which is led by Black Necron. So, we have got Black Necron here in the Commune of France. Then the other major player is Rhino in the Union of Britain. Then the 3 minor nations, we have got Spain, CNTFAI, so Spain is set to win that civil war. I don't think they're allowed to bypass it. I think it still has to be a civil war to give other players or other teams the opportunity to get involved, but it's intended that the CNTFAI wins. Then we have got King of Pandas in the Socialist Republic of Italy, the SRI, and then finally they have a choice between Ireland and Switzerland. And for this they have chosen Ireland, really bolstering up the British Isles, and Ireland, as we know, can become an absolute industrial behemoth by following down all of these focuses over here. So I'm imagining that Ireland will be trying to lend-lease resources and equipment to the rest of their team, particularly France, who tends to be on a rather brutal front line against Germany. And speaking of Germany, next up we have got the Reichspakt, led by Jigsaw in Germany, and I am noticing that they start with Belgium already annexed. I'm not entirely sure why, because one of the 2 choices for minor nation that the Reichspakt have is Sweden or Belgium. So I guess they can't use Belgium, in which case what's the point of that choice? Okay, so the other major power we have got is Sebas in Austria, and I just realised I spelled his name wrong. It's supposed to be a double S. So we've got Sebas in Austria, then we've got KF Serial in the Ukraine, we've got Yitminir in Bulgaria, and then a Titan Boy up in Sweden. And then finally we have got the Entente, led by Theresa May in Canada, which just seems somehow weirdly appropriate to have the former Prime Minister of the United Kingdom heading up the government in Canada in this weird alternate timeline where Britain has fled to Canada. Then we've got Macaroni in the USA. Nationalist France is the first of the important minors, led by Stein the 11th. Then we've got Australasia, which is Nadege down here. And then there was a choice between Brazil and Argentina, and they chose Brazil, which is led by Fuzzy. Which is another interesting change from the previous Kaiserreich Weekly, where Argentina, or rather Patagonian Workers thingy, whatever they're called, Patagonian Workers Front, was led by, I think it was Third International, but the problem was it wasn't so much a problem, because he's still got the Union of Britain, but like supporting the rest of the Third International, who are all European with the Argentinians, was always a little bit weird, although that would allow them to take control over South America. One of the rules I seem to remember reading somewhere is Venezuela is not allowed to be conquered. And yeah, it is a Venezuelan nation. In fact, if we just go back to this, then we can see all of the nations properly coloured in. I don't think you're allowed to go to war with Venezuela, but the rest of South America is up for grabs. And I believe that's so that the Reichspakt and possibly Copro can import Venezuelan oil. I wanted to read through all of the various rules before the game actually got started, but unfortunately I only got like a quarter of the way through. But if you would like to get informed on what those rules are, you can type in !KR rules, and that will link you to the tournament specific rules for this tournament. And then if I miss anything, then please do let me know. Wait, how did... Who am I? Albania bypassed Black Monday. Huh. Oh no, it's probably... Yeah, it's a focus that automatically completes when Black Monday happens. Duh. Okay, so one thing I will admit to is I have not played Kaiserreich for about 6 months. Possibly a little bit longer. So if there are any very new changes, like I believe that there were changes made to Austria, then I may not have seen those yet. I'm trying to remember what the last version I majorly played was, but I don't remember. Late game, which they generally don't get to in Kaiserreich Weekly, the Copro will be a monster as India and China can build huge economies, but that's not really until 1945. I think we have seen this get to the mid-40s. Kaiserreich stable enough for multiplayer? Oh yeah, it has been for years. Kaiserreich Weekly is a pretty long-standing multiplayer community, and they do yearly, or actually bi-yearly, multiplayer games. Because I did look back in my notes, and the last one was February. I know that Belgium starts as a puppet of Germany. Yeah, it starts as the Flanders Wallonia, which is a German puppet, but in this it's just been fully annexed. So I'm a little bit unsure about that. Oh yeah, Poland and Lithuania are also gone. Well, I guess they try to empower Germany, which honestly it needs. Because Germany, in the previous tournament, we did see struggled pretty heavily. But this just gives them the extra industry to really become a behemoth. So if anyone's going to be struggling now, it's probably actually going to be France. Although France is supported by Italy and also Spain, with Britain just across the water. So a large part of this will be whether Germany can knock Britain out of the war, and also Ireland. So in fact, this is an interesting point. Seeing as there are 2 overseas players for the Third International, that means that navies are going to be more important for them. Are we actually going to see some decent naval play for a change, I wonder? I don't know. We shall see. Let's see. We have got Random John, SoCal Kaiser, and Sir William Mesfitales. Thank you very much for the follows. Welcome to the channel. Katie Cat coming in with a 36-month resubscription, if my mathematics is correct. I do believe that's 3 years. So congratulations on the purple? Or is it pink? It's one of those wings. You got an upgrade though. And then we have got Mystery Potato coming in with a 16-month resubscription. Thank you very much for that, Mystery Potato. And then Artos coming in with a 17-month primary sub as well. Thank you very much for the ongoing support there, Artos. Right, let's actually go and see what some of the focuses these guys are doing. So Germany's doing Easter promises, direction of the economy, and everyone at this point is basically just going to be doing their industrial focuses. I'm not really expecting anything weird, although actually Canada going for the Air Force? Possibly to try and unlock aircraft earlier, or else he's just trying to offset doing the King's Speech and the C7 bill. Okay, interesting choice there. State arsenals, no real weirdness. French Sudan, who we've not seen. Ukraine, Bulgaria, Russia, VES, that one looks economic, it is economic. So yeah, everyone except for Canada doing their economic stuff, although we have got our first civil war. So the League of Eight Provinces is currently fighting against a whole bunch of their neighbours. Now I am curious about whether anyone is sending any volunteers. So Germany East Asia has sent volunteers to Nanjing, which is not really a surprise. Is anyone else sending any? So Anqing has got volunteers from Austria, Fentian, Austria? Really? Japan, Qing and Siam. Why Austria? Nanjing has already been defeated, so this just leaves Anqing and left Komdang. And this very much looks like it's going to be an Anqing victory. Anqing is fighting on two fronts. They've got in the north Shanxin Chang'o, and then in the south they have got left Komdang. So did these guys get any volunteers? Yes, it looks like they did. Copro has supported them. So Britain, France, Spain, Italy and Baratia are all here supporting these guys. Surprised that Austria is supporting Anqing, because surely the Reichspakt would want Nanjing to win. Because League of Eight Provinces is kind of vital to the continued success of Germany East Asia, which I know is not a player, but Germany East Asia still has a significant navy that could cause problems huzzah, in the Far East for Copro. And we're seeing that we have got... Oh, I'm still on NATO counters. Let's turn those off so I can actually read what's going on a little bit more easily. So those are just French infantry securing some of the holdings and making this little breakthrough. Baratia is supporting there. Spain and the others just grinding for experience at this point. Let's check things from this perspective. So it is primarily Anqing, Qing and Fentian doing their thing. This year's tournament on how to trigger Mordred with Navy play. Happens every year, though. Also, hey, Kaiserreich Weekly, how are you doing? Last time I played Kaiserreich was on the Ottoman update. That could be right, yeah. From the rules, Spain Civil War avoided due to CNT FAI win. Okay, interesting. So the big Civil War is going to be this one, and also, of course, the American Civil War. And I wonder if anyone's going to really try to fight for that. Have they done anything to bolster the syndicalists? Because one of the problems the syndicalists often have is they lose their coastline, which means that Lend-Lease and volunteers can't get supply. Oh, I've done Qing, yeah. Like, there are very few countries in this game that I have not played as. Although I admit, it's been a while since I did. And yes, this is a tournament-specific submod. That is true. Oh, it did. Gigao, sorry. Thank you very much for the 18-month resubscription, Gigao. Very much appreciate the ongoing support. Hello, Mordred Viking and the fellow Mordrings. Double Mordred. Babay today? And yes, we are on a 2-minute delay. Because I want to make sure that there is no stream sniping where possible. But this very much is looking like an Anqing victory. We do have some serious pushes going on from the south. So Left Komandang is pushing into Anqing, and Anqing have left very few troops guarding their southern border. But they are currently trying to wrap up Anqing here in the north, and we've got Japanese and also German troops poised. So we've got Copro and Reichspakt. Because, yeah, we've got Sweden, we've got Austria. So both of these. I wonder if Reichspakt has made a deal with Copro. So that their Copro is not going to declare war on Germany. And not going to fight against Germany and Ukraine. Which allows the Reichspakt to then focus on the Comintern. Is this an official tournament for points or is this casual multiplayer? No, this is a full tournament with prizes and everything. And those prizes are supported by a number of sponsors, which I should probably give a shout out to. Let's go and see who they are. I know I saw a list of them here. Here we go. So we have got Flag Maker and Print, a new custom flag designer printing service developed by none other than Kaiserreich Cinema's founder, Vincent. So Kaiserreich now prints flags, which actually sounds really cool. Oh, they're custom flags. You can make your own. Oh! Alright, that's really cool. Then we have also got... Oh no, that's it. I think the Kaiserreich Cinema is also supporting this one, as they do very often do so as well, though I'm not seeing a shout out for them. But if you go to flagmaker-print.com, that is the sponsor. I'll put a link to that in chat. So they're sponsoring this tournament, not me. When the Indian rework comes out, it might be worth a single-player playthrough. Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, the big one that I am really waiting for is Austria. I want to see an Austria overhaul. And then I will be pretty content. But an India overhaul, I have seen some of the dev diaries that they're working on for India, and it does look really good. Oh, hey, Flame Fang. That's a name I recognise from Kaiserreich as well. Good to see you guys out. So, slow but sure fight here along the borders. Going south. And actually, Nanjing seems to be the Anqing capital now. Huzzah! I guess just because it's the biggest. So, what's this? Anqing, are they the one that can peacefully integrate into Fentian? I think they are. I wonder what the outcome would be if Left Kuomintang actually won this. I doubt they will, just because Anqing has so many more volunteers coming in. They've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 nations versus Kuomintang's 5. It's actually only 2 more. 2 French, 1 Spaniard, 1 Baratheon. So there is 1 player from the Copro that's not here, because Baratheon has shown up. So Siam. Siam is not here. Baratheon has shown up instead. Probably because Siam starts with equipment shortages or something like that, although unfortunately I'm not allowed to look at the equipment lists. So there are a couple of rules during this. During, like, major naval invasions, players can request that I not look at their nation for a certain time. I will possibly highlight to you when that happens, otherwise I will just stay stum, and you will never know until I go, oh my gosh, look at this, half of America has fallen. Which kind of happened last time. I don't think it was America, I think it was Britain? Somebody fell. During that period. And also I'm not allowed to look at production queues, so I'm not allowed to go on the, let's choose somebody neutral, Nepal. I can't go on the production list, so I can't see what they're producing, and I cannot look at the logistics tab, so I cannot see what their logistics are. And until the war proper starts, I cannot look at the division templates either. Once the war starts, though, their intel systems should be up, and they should be able to see for themselves who people are playing. But there are a couple of rules in, just to, you know, make sure that everything is fair and as balanced as we can possibly make it. Okay, just making sure that I'm not missing anything important coming through. I wonder wonder if I should have my phone plugged in just so I can keep tabs on the Discord chat. Battery at the moment is looking good. I'll need to keep an eye on that as well, but just in case. Kaiserreich Weekly, Group B. There it is. Okay, so this is the preliminaries. There are 16 teams playing for the finals. The finals will be held this time next week. I think that most of the games are actually an hour later than we are. We started 1 hour earlier at the request of the teams, which quite honestly suits me just fine because tomorrow I have a D&D game right after the stream, and I probably would have had to delay that D&D game if we had the 1 hour later slot. But there are 16 teams. 4 of those will be promoted, so basically the victor of each of those preliminary matches will then go into the finals, which are next week, and then it's the finals that they're playing for the cash prizes. Naval limits seem quite sensible, no limit on subs apart from banning Snorkel 2s. That seems reasonable. I mean, Snorkel 2s are actually really expensive, so I'm not sure I'd even ban those, considering how easily destroyers can just lock submarines out, but sure. It's better than just saying you can't have anything better than sub 2. Man, that annoyed me. It's like, why? Just... If you're going to do that, then ban CAS and tactical bombers, because apparently they can only build fighters. Yeah. Probably work on Russia with just adjustments. The tag was old, becoming eventually as a total rework. So long as the Black Baron can still seize power and we can have Baron Wrangle in every single position of government, then I'll be happy. That was always one of my favourite things about playing as Russia. In fact, you gave us permission to use Wrangle. I think he's the one Kaiserreich thing that we have as an emote, just because Wrangles is a pretty popular character with this community, shall we say. How do teams win total destruction? That is a good question. No, there are a series of victory points spread throughout the world. And if you type in !scores, sorry, !KR scores, you will see what those victory points are. And if I just go and bring those up, we can see that Germany wants to hold Berlin, Austria. Okay, so it's capitals. For every capital of an opponent that you take, that is points. For every minor capital you take, that's points, though I think not as many. Yeah, major capitals are 3 points. Hotspots are 1 point. And minor capitals are 2 points. And if you go to the scores thing, you will see those highlighted. Gold is no points, hotspots is green, and then black is the minors. So, Sofia, Kiev, Madrid, Torino are all 2 points, then 1 point are Beijing, Hebei, and Hyperbad. And then purple is a major capital. Oh, so Australasia and National France are major capitals. Interesting. And then Brussels, Stockholm, Geneva, Dublin, Rio de Janeiro, Buenos Aires, Bangkok and Manila are also worth points. And then finally we have the hotspots, which are Vestlandet in Norway, Vitebsk in Russia, Singapore in German East Asia, Tsartsin in Russia, French Hainaut in Comune of France, Ankara in the Ottoman Empire, Jerusalem in the Ottoman Empire, Rome in the Papal States, Baku in Azerbaijan, Iceland for Iceland, Petrograd in Russia, Western Cape in South Africa, Italian Federation, Venice in the Italian Federation, Father Pomerania in the German Empire, Palatinate in the German Empire, Cagliari in Sardinia, Volhynia in the Ukraine, Gibraltar in Morocco-Iberian Federation, Hesse in Germany, Cap Verde in Portugal, Suez Canal in Egypt, Riga, West Kalimantan Papua, Hanover, Brest, Constantinople, South Island, Panama Canal, Hawaii, Kaiser Wilhelm Land, East Sumatra, Sicily, Baghdad, Provence, Central Greece, Taiwan, and Kyushu. And then these are worth different points for the different players. Okay, so column A is Reichspakt, column B is Third Ent, column C is Entente, and column D is Copro. So, for example, Jerusalem is only worth points for Copro and Reichspakt. It is not worth anything for the Third International or Entente. And then basically the way that all of these are allocated is how things are balanced for the different factions. And then there is a cumulative scoring system which will work out exactly who is winning in each of those categories. And you want to be sure to look at Prelim B. For faction score, Prelim B is one of the tabs on the score charts, which is the one that we are interested in. We are Group B. I like the idea of playing the Chinese warlords, just don't like playing in Asia. Land war in Asia is such a drag. Playing as the League of Provinces, later known as Nanjing, is really good. I really enjoyed that. And also German East Asia is surprisingly fun because of that symbiotic relationship that they have with Nanjing. But play as Nanjing first. Although I am still very bitter at Kaiserreich for changing the best name in the game to League of Eight Provinces. Allgemeine Ostasiengesellschaft was just such a pleasure to say. AOG. I love your naval stuff in Hearts of Iron 4, but I haven't found a Let's Play with Japan. Japan's a weird one. I find that Japan doesn't actually do that much naval play. Most of Japan's efforts are focused on China in regular Hearts of Iron. I don't actually like playing as Japan that much. And yeah, there should be at least one Japan playthrough. Probably quite an old one, though. Possibly Kaiserreich. The Entente capitals were switched because expecting anyone to cap North America was seen as unfair. That's reasonable. Yeah, I mean, if you want to see naval play, there are lots of Germany games. There's the Greece game. There are Britain games. All of those countries do navy way more way more interestingly than Japan. Japan's not a naval nation. It's a land nation. That just happens to need boats to move its troops to China.